Good afternoon. It is 12 o'clock on the West Coast. That's 3 p.m. on the East Coast. And for everybody else in the middle, just Google it or ask Siri, please. It is Webinar Wednesday from Ignitization, and we do this every Wednesday, and it's all about sharing something that can help you ignite your business or your practice or your life. And today's webinar is a bit old school. We're going back to the basics of letter writing, and I'm going to show you some cool tips and tricks on how to write a letter to get the best bang for your buck and start getting clients today, or at least when the letter gets there. Okay, let's begin. Ignitization was created, kind of a funny story. We were sitting having a glass of wine and we were messing around with the word ignite, which you know is a part of our typical discussion because we also run the Ignite program, and we wanted something that was kind of Ignite light, and Ignitization is what came about. And we've had a lot of fun with it ever since. And it's kind of the self-serve version of Ignite, where you can go online and get all kinds of cool resources that are directed at people that want to ignite their practice, their business, or life. And if you're having trouble saying it, here's the phonetic spelling. It's Ignitization, as you see here. Okay, and you can't make this stuff up. You know that 74 Degrees is our parent company, and anything 74 or 47 always gets my attention. Yesterday, Apple sold 74 billion iPhones for the quarter. They announced that. Today, we had 47 registrations for today's event. I just love that. And today, we're going to be talking about letter writing for client acquisition. Before we do that, a lot of people ask me, you use the same colors and they're the same kind of overlapping. What's the difference between a Studemy, Ignitization, and ProIgnite program? First of all, Studemy used to be schoolofbookkeeping.com, and it is a tool designed for accounting professionals with learning videos on all the latest technologies and techniques and fundamentals and state-of-the-art concepts related to your profession. There's also unlimited answers in our answers forum, now being led by Jay Kimmelman, the digital CPA. That guy is answering questions left and right, and people are loving it. It's an amazing community. Jobs and client referrals, we're pushing big on that this year, and so much more. Ignitization is similar to a Studemy, but it's geared towards business owners and entrepreneurs. It does kind of have that accounting professional feel to it because that's where we came from, but it's really a broader, larger focus, and it kind of dovetails nicely with a Studemy, and all of our Studemy Pro members get Ignitization for free. And then there's the ProIgnite program, and what's different about the ProIgnite program is we have, excuse me just a quick second, I want to make sure, okay, yep. In the ProIgnite program, it's a hands-on, one-on-one program designed just to help you ignite your practice, but really figuring out what's not working, what we can help you do better, and just kind of having a CMO at your side as you go. And we've completely revamped the model. You now can buy the ProIgnite program on a monthly basis for a period of 12 months at $395 a month. For those of you that are already in the program as it is, you'll still get all your value. We're actually going to expand yours a bit. But for those of you that are interested, there is a sign-up fee, plus it's then $395 a month, and I think you're going to really find that useful. Real quick, today is the last day. If you're interested in a Studemy, we are offering our, you can get Pro for the price of Basic plus $1. That's today only for the annual membership. Just asking Jay Kimmelman a question a day, a question a week, a question a month is worth this $375, but you also get all the content on a Studemy and Ignitization. Most of these webinars are not free like it is today. All right, let's jump into letter writing. So when we're doing letter writing for client acquisition, what we're thinking about is we want to write a letter that's appealing. We don't want it to be thrown out. We don't want it to be ignored. And we don't want to put a dollar bill in it or a credit card or a stamp or some kind of hokey thing. We just want somebody to open it up and read it. And we know that it's about a 1, maybe a 2% ROI, but you can improve that. And that's what we're going to focus on today. One of the things in marketing that people often fail on is they don't understand the importance of testing. Marketing is not a science. It is an art form. And you don't know. I can tell you right now, one of my clients has the most ridiculous response from one of their blog posts that literally is absolutely unexplainable. It is 90% of the hits to their website. I have the same problem with Astudemy. There's one video that brings us more attention than any other video. Now, how do I replicate that video? Alas, we are. So that's what we want. You know, we really want to get the most bang for our buck when we're writing a letter and we don't know what's going to work. So we're going to test it. And that's what we're going to focus on. So A and B testing. If you've ever done an AdWords campaign, you're going to understand what I'm talking about. If you haven't, I'm happy to discuss that with you shortly. All right, let's start by writing a letter. We want to make it personal, but not too personal. It's got to be professional as well. And we want it to have meaning, right? It has to solve a problem for somebody. You, luckily, are in a great business where solving problems is what you do. You make guys like me happy because when you're dealing with my numbers, when Emily Clark or Cynthia, my CPA, or anybody is working within this, I know things are being handled professionally, and I just feel good about it. I pay a good amount to these folks, and I'm happy to do so because they're great at what they do. This is why I partner with a guy like Jay Kimmelman and Carrie Kahn and Diana Hollins. I mean, these are great, talented people that bring so much to the table. This is what you do, and you want to remain that way. You want to remain that elevated professional. You know, people post on Albo once in a while, I'm a bookkeeper, not an accountant, or I'm this, I'm not that. I don't want to hear that kind of nonsense. You are a business professional. You help people solve problems, whether that's data entry, QuickBooks, Xero, or massive tax, sophisticated solutions for tax problems, or defending people in front of the IRS. Everybody's got their thing. Be great at it and make sure to bring that out in your letter. So when I say make it now, what I mean is two things. One, do it now. As soon as you get off of this webinar, write a letter. And I'm going to show you how, so stick with me here. But write a letter now. Don't wait till later. Also, make it about now. Make it urgent. Make it something that they need to respond to. Give them a reason to respond. And try to make it clever. If you need a little help with that, I'm happy to help. You've got friends and colleagues. And you know what? Sometimes asking one of the kids is the greatest way to come up with a clever idea that you may not have thought of. Okay, let's write a letter. I hope you think this is clever. So, dear Abby, now I'm starting off by saying one simple thing to you. Yes, you can buy a list, or like I always tell you, go to Yelp. But if you click a couple of times, you probably can find the owner's first name. Having that owner's first name is going to make all the difference. When I send an email out broadly to a lot of people and it doesn't have their first name, and sadly, there was a period when people were signing up on Astudemy where I couldn't capture their first name. And that really bummed me out. And we're working on fixing that right now. Hey, Don, we're holding questions right now, but I will definitely come back to it. So if you guys do have a question, go ahead and throw it in the Q&A. I won't answer it till the end though, okay? Do use the Q&A though. All right, so anyhow, finding this person's name and using it in the salutation is so important. And I can't stress this enough, but if you can't do it, it's still better to send a letter than not, okay? If you can afford the 58 cents it's gonna cost you. Okay, I'm a professional bookkeeper. I have years of experience and I focus on you, the direct salesperson. And there's a spelling error. And many of my clients are LuLaRoe. I wrote this very quickly, as you can tell this morning. But this is about a client of mine, also now my controller, Emily Clark, started off as a client. She has grown her business to such an amazing thing over the course of this last year. And watching her and helping her, we have intimately worked together in terms of building out her Facebook group and building out her brand and figuring out how to work with clients and how to get them to sign up and how to get them to book a consultation. Every little piece of the puzzle we've worked on together. And she's just flying right now. She can't keep her feet on the ground. And so I'm using her LuLaRoe thing, which she's focused on. This is an area that she's kind of gone into as a vertical, this MLM. It's an MLM clothing business, and it is blowing up. And the clothes are rather conservative, but they're quite nice. They started off with leggings, and there's women all over the world starting these practices, and they're getting into this business, and they have no idea how to do their accounting. Emily is there to help them, and she is just going crazy with it. So she's writing to one of her LuLaRoe consultants, and she's basically starting off with something that says who she is and what she wants. She's not messing around. And she's also using the R in ORNSA, for those of you that know what that is, reference, right? So she's referencing LuLaRoe business. She's actually telling them that she understands it because she has experience working with people just like them. Then she appeals to them in a way which I think is very important. And I wrote this letter, and Emily's probably saying, Eric, please copy and paste that. And I will, Emily, of course. And for all of you, for that matter, I'll put this letter up on Really Useful Documents, and you can kind of, carve it out to your own needs. It's not rocket science, though. It's just kind of getting you thinking. So here she says, hey, Abby, again, uses her name. I'm just a mom like you. I have 2 kids. I work from home. She's appealing to this woman in a way that, now, again, she knows her customer here, so she knows what she's going to say. And this is the ideal letter writing. Otherwise, why bother? Why spend 58 cents with the stamp and the cost of the printing and whatever else? You're going to spend that money. Make sure you're using something that's going to get attention, as Emily would do here. So she talks about how she works hard and how important her kids are and why she chose bookkeeping, that she loves it. And she works with LuLaRoe professionals because of the experience. Experience is so important, and this is specific experience. If somebody sent me a letter and said, hey, you are XYZ Eric Greenspan, and I specialize in XYZ, I mean, I have responded to these types of letters. I had a loan modification guy that I talked to at one point. I gave him $4,000, and I thought he was a complete idiot at the end of the day, but guess what? 13 months later, I got the loan mod, and it lowered my payment by almost $8,000 a month. $4,000 I spent. Terrible service. He was awful at what he did, but he got the job done. Or maybe he just led me into battle and gave me the strength to get it done myself. I don't know what it was, but the fact that I responded to his letter and took action, that $4,000 turned into obviously something substantial for me. I could go on. There's a few others that I've done. Okay, so anyhow, she's relating to them, and she's being human and really understanding who they are in their situation. Okay, so now she's going for it, right? She's going to go for the close, and the close is really simple. It's like, look, if you're interested, maybe we can chat sometime. It's a little standoffish. I would like this more direct, but I was trying to think the way Emily would think, and I kind of want you to write your letters from who you are, more so than from a perspective of just, hey, what should I say, or what did Eric tell me to say, or whoever your consultant is. I want you to be you, but we're going to find out if being you is a good thing or a bad thing. And it's obviously a good thing, but we want to figure out what the better you is. And I use this as a metaphor, of course. Anyhow, she's giving a phone number, a link to a free consultation, putting a bug in her ear that there's a free consultation available. And then she's going to sign it. And most importantly, bam, she's going to use a real signature, and she's going to do it in a different color of ink. And I purposely made it lay on top of the word yours because I don't want this to be a fabricated letter. Now, you can print like you see here. I think it probably would be cooler if Emily just printed out a bunch of letters and signed them all, but that's up to you. Either way, make it stand out, make it look personal in that regard. It's very easy to do. I did that little M on Photoshop. You could do it on any photo editing software. I just took my little trackpad, I drew an M, and then I saved it as a PNG. A PNG is a transparent file that allows the blue to show and all the other colors come through the back. All right, now that you've got the letter, delete it. Okay? This is the part where everybody's going, I heard this guy was crazy. Okay, I am a little bit. I'm crazy about what I do. I love what I do. Delete it. I want you to delete the letter. Just hit delete on your keyboard and put it in the trash can. Don't empty your trash just yet, though. All right, now let's start over again, and let's write that letter one more time. And this time, set a little timer for 60 seconds. That's it. Now this letter should be shorter. And start writing it, and as soon as the time ends, stop. Dot your I's, cross your T's over the next few seconds, and then be done, okay? Now, call this one letter B, and undelete the first letter and call it letter A. You now have 2 letters. The other way to do this is to write your letter and then take that letter and rewrite it, but there's something about deleting it. I don't know if you've ever done this before, but have you ever lost a document and you thought, oh, it was just perfect, and you got really freaked out about it, maybe took a walk or had lunch or dinner or slept on it, and the next day you wrote it again and it was better? Or the first one was better. Who can tell? But what we want are 2, letter A and letter B. And what are we going to do with them? First, we're going to prepare them for sending. So we're going to put a deer, as you saw. We're going to sign it with a different colored ink, as you saw. We're going to put a real stamp on it. And we're going to stamp it with a return address or a label or something cool, something that says you, something that's personal but doesn't look like a wedding invitation, okay? And then I would get a business stamp made that's not completely business. This would be just your marketing stamp. Spend the 15 bucks, 25 bucks, 50 bucks, whatever it is, and buy a stamp that's business but also kind of personal. Not too personal that says your religious beliefs or who you voted for in office, but something that's, you know, about you. Maybe like for me, I would put a golf ball on it maybe, or a picture of a basketball or a guitar, something about my kids, who knows? And Laura, I'm going to address your question in just a moment. Keep asking questions, folks. I will answer them, I promise. Okay. So we're now going to handwrite the address. Now, this isn't something you have to do. And quite frankly, this is addressing your question there, Laura. The handwriting the address or doing it in a script font, quite frankly, I think something about using an alternative color ink handwritten, if you have decent handwriting, is really cool. I once hired a calligrapher to do this, and I'm just going to tell you, hands down, that worked really well. All I can tell you, it worked. But handwrite the address. If you want to print labels, you can. Labels probably would be my last choice. I would rather you figure out, and we all know it's an awful process, trying to figure out how to get your printer to print on envelopes. If you don't have an envelope feeder and that's set up on the regular, then you probably are frustrated, and window envelopes cannot be used in a situation like this. Don't try to fool people with a business disguised letter that's trying to be marketing. Let it be obvious that you're trying to do your best to get their attention. That's going to get people attention. And if you have some sort of an adornment, this is what I was talking about earlier. You know, some people put a little sticker on the back of the envelope or what have you. This isn't a wedding invitation, but it's okay if you have something that's cool. Like we put little SOB stickers back in the day. Now we're having new ones made. Something like that could work. But again, let's test it. All right. So now we're going to send the letters. And what I would recommend is, depending upon your budget, 10 to 100 letter A, 10 to 100 letter B, do the same amount in both and send them on the same day at the same time in the same mailing system so that you can time them properly. And now let me back up actually. You know, one of the bullets I probably should add here is I probably should add a bullet that says, do the exact same thing, morning versus night, Tuesday versus Saturday, so that arrival times are different. You just never know. I can tell you this much, emails fall on deaf ears Friday after 3 o'clock. Letters do different things on different days. And you'd be surprised, you know, months can change that depending upon the business that you're targeting. If you're in my business, you don't market to anybody in the accounting profession just before April. The emails that I got back saying, what are you, stupid? I mean, it was awful. It was awful. Now, we made a lot of sales, so it might have been worth taking a couple to the face, but it's true. I mean, if I'm going to invest my time, I might as well invest it in times that are going to be more suitable to people. Maybe at the end of April, after things have settled down and vacations have ended. Okay, so different times of the day, different mail systems, different mailboxes, different colored envelopes, so many different ways to change it, and you just never know. And this is what I was talking about with AdWords. The way AdWords works is you can do an ad in AdWords, and then you'll see what your results were for the week or the day or whatever it is. And you'll compare that with the next best ad. Take the next best ad, rewrite it to be similar to the ad that you just wrote, but still different, and then test again. And just keep taking the second ad over the top. And your goal is to always get ad 2 to outperform ad 1. If you keep missing and ad 1 is still up there, you got to keep trying, because once you get this and then this and then this, and it keeps climbing, boom, you go from 1% to 2% to 3%. And then your ROI starts to make sense. Most people fail at AdWords for this very purpose, but we're talking about writing letters. All right, we've got about 5 minutes. No, we're going to wrap this up, and then we're going to go to Q&A. And keep in mind that something you wrote in letter A versus letter B, you can add something, or it can be dear versus hello or something. You need to be able to ask them, does it say dear or does it say hello, Abby? Oh, hello. Okay, that's letter B. You need to make a mark about that. All right, now take the rest of the day off because you've done all this work. I'm kidding, of course. Take a couple of days and relax, focus on what you need to do outside of this and forget about it, okay? And then wait for the calls to come in. And if they don't, start over and change everything. If you used window envelopes, even though I told you not to, now you know why. Try it again with handwritten. And honestly, I would not. Hey, Laura, hang in there. I'm going to answer your questions. Okay. If it doesn't work, you can start over, but it does work. There's no question that letter writing works. You just have to appeal to the person at the right time with the right comment. And if you ask for something that they don't need, that could be bigger of a problem than the issue of whether it's a window envelope or you hand wrote the address. Okay. Now, if they do come in, keep track of each and learn which worked better, of course, and you need to make sure that they've got a really great and easy way to contact you. There are temporary tracking phone numbers. You can use a Google Voice number that redirects to your phone, and you can use that type of thing to track. You can buy them through the various phone system services. Spending $15 for a number that you use temporarily may be a great investment. Linking to a book consultation page, and you can do a specific consultation page that will allow you to track how many you got from that specific campaign. You can also use Google Analytics for this, but it gets a little, I'm trying to give you really simple, easy ways to do this. Okay, and then, if they're claiming a gift, if you use some sort of a gift to get their attention, some people do this. I'll never forget it when somebody sent me a box of shoes and there was one shoe inside and they said, if you want the other shoe, contact me. And I did, and they sent me the other shoe. American Express used to send out a giant RC Jeep, and it said, if you want their RC controller, contact us. Unreal. Clever. Not probably something you're going to do. Although you could offer, a free tips and tricks guide or a mouse pad or something, a mug if they respond. You would be surprised at how many people love swag. Don't we love swag? And then an expiration date. You're going to give them an offer. Make sure you have some sort of call of action. Most people know that you just want to do business with them. So try to make your expiration date make sense. It has to be meaningful. Okay, is this whole thing time sensitive? Absolutely. Jump on it, move quickly, get it done, and do everything you possibly can. When it comes to fielding the calls, be ready. Laura asked a question earlier, why not just keep a list of which letter you sent to who? Because that takes the time of writing down each person and keeping track of it like that. I would rather just send out my letters, half with with one thing and half with another thing, knowing there's something specific, and then asking them what the letter says. You can do it either way, though. It doesn't matter. Just make sure you have a system that is easy to deal with for yourself and for your staff. Personally, I think asking the person, does it say Dear Mike or does it say Hello Mike? Hello is B and Dear is A. I think that's a pretty easy way to do it. Anyhow, up to you. Train the people that are fielding these calls. You don't want to blow the opportunities as they come in. You may only get 5 calls and you spend $100, but 5 calls, if you close 3 of them, that could be worth $500, $2,500 a month to you. Easily. If you got $2,500 a month out of every $100 and mailing you sent, how many letters would you send? as many as you could possibly print in your lifetime. It works. There are people that do nothing but postcards and letters. Building a system we talked about, and then making sure you've got, and you might blow a first one or the second one because you're practicing. Maybe call me and we can practice on a consultation, but you want to close the sale. You want to close the sale. You want them to call you, book a consultation, but then you want to say, okay, let's do business. Here's how much it costs. Here's where you sign up. Let me help you get started. Boom. Wednesday of next week is our start date. ORNSA action plan. If you want to learn more, book a free 30-minute free consultation with me. ProIgniteProgram.com is now $3.95 a month. You can cancel anytime. There is a startup fee. So that's something new. And this isn't the same ProIgnite program that some of you are in. This is a scaled down version, but it is what we're offering now. And that is the end of today's presentation. So let me take a look at the questions. Would these letters be for getting individual tax clients or businesses? Don, you can get whatever you want with a letter. I mean, it really depends. And one of the things that I often hear from people is if somebody is vertically focused. So for example, we only work with veterinarians. Does that mean you're not going to get the local contractor? Not necessarily. More often than not, you'll hear people call and say, I know you focus on veterinarians, but do you think you could help me? And, you know, of course. I mean, ideally, if you've got enough veterinary clients, then stay focused. But if you've got a good, you know, ability to deliver on another type of client, go for it. If it's going to detract or take you away or become one of those clients that you wish you never took, don't take it. Stay focused. So whatever you want to use it for. Laura, I really don't like the script font when it's used. It looks fake. It looks canned. I would much rather see somebody handwrite those or just use a standard Times Roman or Arial type font. And as far as using blue, I mean, again, it's better than not, but you can see it coming. And it just, you know, I mean, I guess it might work for some, but unless it's Rusty's Pizza, which is a postcard that I get every month and want to get, that comes with an, I could care less what it says on it. It could say current resident for all I care. I just want that extra $2 off my large pizza that I use every single month. So, you know, it's like everybody knows this coupon's coming. It's a postcard that I'm expecting. But if somebody sends me a piece of mail, and I won't mention any names, but I get some mail all the time. And the one that I actually open is this one guy who, he's very bad at it, but it's very old school. He just kind of writes it, and you can tell there's a newspaper clipping in there, and I open it up and I read it. And if it applied to me at the time, I'd probably hire this guy. Newspaper clipping. Probably should have mentioned that. Sending them some piece of information that might appeal to them could potentially be useful. So for example, if you're sending to a tax client and there's a new tax law that you want to accentuate for them and share that information, maybe a snippet of that in this document might be useful. That's a clever idea as well. Of course, Laura, you could use Excel to track the list. I know that those words, the word Excel is part of your daily life. I get it, for sure. I would definitely put the check boxes or check marks into Excel. I just don't know that I would actually prepare a list ahead of time. I would just like send 100, send 100. And, you know, it'd kind of be nice to do them random. I'd hate to see you guys do them based on alphabetical order. You want to skew them, pull them out of a hat, you know, 10 from this and 10 from that, print them differently, and then just see what happens based on the different content. Biz Journals, Adam asks, I subscribe to the publication in Milwaukee, and there's a lead section with new business filings, including owner name. So Adam, I often talk about fictitious business filings. When people launch a fictitious business statement, a DBA, they have to legally publish that. And this is where this is what you're talking about. And you used to have to do this by buying the paper and copying, pasting, or printing the, or literally, you know, typing those things. Now you can pretty much get those things online. Personally, I think that's a great idea, and a lot of my clients do that. In fact, a couple of them do that exclusively. but it's still a letter. Whether you get the list from there or somewhere else, where you get the list is important. I love Yelp. I love finding DBAs. We didn't talk about that because we've talked about that on other things. So thanks for bringing that up. Great point. And Laura, I think I just answered your question, but you said the county office by me doesn't include phone numbers. Nobody's calling anybody. Again, we talked before we started recording or before we started the actual event. Nobody cares if they get mail, but they get all frantic if they get a violation in their inbox. God forbid somebody picks up the phone and calls you. We all know what that's like. And I used to have a policy when I was a CEO of a company with 100 employees. I would get phone calls, and I had people that would guard people from getting into my office. One of my best friends to this day, though, somehow got in and actually flew to Santa Barbara. And now we're buddies. We go back and forth. I visit him in Nashville. Hello, John Dayani. But every once in a while, I had this policy that I would take a call, because you just never know. I mean, they're just people like everybody else that are calling, but usually somebody who's got the gall to pick up the phone and call you to solicit their service probably is more salesy than business oriented. Personally, I'm not a big fan of it. I don't do it. I like to do work. I love marketing, but I like the more passive approaches. I love email. I love letter writing. I love social media. I love video. Those types of things really, really work. For follow-up, oh, I see. Well, Laura, if they're going to respond to you, they're going to respond to you with an email address or a phone number. I would not send a letter to somebody and then call them. I just wouldn't. You can if that works for you, but I don't think that's good for your type of business model. That type of aggressive behavior in the accounting industry probably wouldn't be received really that well. I think, honestly, it's better to take brownies into a plumber's office and introduce yourself and drop off a flyer than pick up the phone and call. Again, why do we not mind when we get a letter in our mailbox, but we get so fired up when we get a silly little email that we can just hit delete or unsubscribe in our inbox? It's just our mentality of what we like. So we want to make sure that we're not pissing people off. Michael, would you provide a business card in the client acquisition letter? Michael, I mean, you certainly could, although the business card kind of like says, hey, look, I want your business. And it might make it unappealing for somebody to open up the letter in the first place. I usually feel the letters before I open them. If it's a new credit card, I'm opening it. But when I open up one and it looks like it's from my credit card company and I open it up and it says, I have, I don't know if you guys gotten this one. It says, ignite your business. And this is a credit offer. And every time I open it, I'd smile because it's Ignite. That's what I do. But it has nothing to do with me, and I don't want it. And it's like 100% interest rate, So those kind of turn me off, to be frank. I think less is more in this situation. But I will also say that when my mom sends me letters, because she still does a lot, and she also signs Love Mom on Facebook, as many of you have noticed, but she'll send me newspaper clippings of things that I can relate to from growing up in Palm Springs. I always open those, not just because they're from mom, but they have that feeling and that handwritten personal approach. And she never uses expensive envelopes. She just sends them to me. And I notice they're from mom, but I also just can tell instantly by touching them what they are. Any other questions? We're over our time. I'm going to break here. I really appreciate everybody coming. We had a big audience today. I will be processing this video and uploading it to the recorded webinars on ignitization.com. We've got a ton of them up there right now. I don't know if you guys have had a chance to check them out, but content like this is useful, and this is just scratching the surface. We've got a ton of videos on the recorded section. You can watch them 24/7. Go there, log in. If you're an Astudemy Pro member, go to astudemy.com/ignitization to get your login to Ignitization. If you're not, either register for Astudemy, get that $375 deal that ends today. It's amazing. You get all the Ignitization content, or go and just subscribe to Ignitization directly. Okay, there's my letter written to you, my sales pitch. Thanks so much, you guys. Next week, I will be in Mexico. I might do a webinar from my iPhone in the sand, and I might not. Thanks so much for coming to Ignitization Webinar Wednesdays.